You can do what I do.
I did figure someone though had been lowering and raising this.
We have
To
staff.
keep from rolling back, I put one of my feet right in front of the wheel so that my foot is sitting there. It's kind of just holding me there.
Yeah.
Or if you want to have fun, just put both feet up and you can roll back and forth. You don't have
Just
to.
get an ottoman.
Mhm. We could incorporate leg exercises this way, I think.
Share yoga. Bungee cords, that's a
Sure.
great idea. Yeah, last time I moved this thing and then I totally like dropped.
That's what we did on the ship. Feels like the sun ship.
All right, almost there. Oops, sorry, Terry. On the
Right.
laptop, will you move the mouse up to where it says recording paused?
Recording.
And yep, over a little more.
Over,
And hit the
over.
play button so that it. starts-
Here?
See the play button right here? Yeah,
Here?
hit that.
All right, just a minute. I guess I'm a little shaky tonight.
All right. I moved the mouse off of it so we don't accidentally hit it. Because I'm OCD like that. There we go. All right, now we're recording.
Okay, good.
And I've got 7:30, so we will call this January 24th, 2022 council meeting to order and begin with our customary prayer and pledge. Our Father,
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and power, and the glory forever. Amen.
pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So first on our agenda says swearing in of council members. However, we had the reorg meeting. I swore in Ms. Reedy and Mr. Cosgray just before those meetings, so we can go to roll call.
Mr. Cosgrave,
Present.
Ms. Reedy,
Present.
Mr. Foreman, Ms. McCreary,
Present.
Ms. Schaffner, and Mr. Chuck Zoom.
He's present, but again, unfortunately, doesn't count for quorum or to vote. All right. First item is the approval of the minutes from January 10th, special and regular meetings. And Terry, are these the first meeting minutes that Terry did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So
Working on it.
no, it's fine. Longtime assistant Barb retired. We got Terry, so now it gets a little more confusing because we got Terry here, we got Terry in the office. We've also got Tim and Tim and Brad, but
And Brian and Brian.
and Brian and Brian.
I guess we're just stuck on names.
Um,
in this village.
Okay.
So, and I don't think she previously did minutes at her old one, so it takes time. I know she was taking her time through it. I didn't see anything out there that seemed to be incorrect. So,
Good, good. Yes.
but that said, I'd also don't get to make the motion
Well,
or talk about.
I read over them. I'd like to move to approve the minutes. Seconds.
For the special meeting.
It was for the council. meeting.
There were two meetings.
Yeah, there were two meetings, so we'll do the special meeting first.
Okay, that's, I was just trying to.
Yeah, thank you.
I will order those also.
Right. So was your motion for the special or the regular?
We said special. so
We said
I'm
special,
motioning to
okay.
approve the minutes to the special meeting as written.
And Schaffner second, discussion on them. If not, roll call.
Cosgrave,
Abstain.
Foreman,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy. Abstain. Schaffner.
Yes.
You have two abstentions.
Yes.
And 3 if you count Chuck, but that gives us,
Count Chuck, though.
we can't get Chuck, so that's 3-2. Does that count?
No.
No? So we can't pass the minutes?
You have to delay it until a later date.
Okay. Yeah, so we can't pass either one.
No.
All right. Tell you what, though, can I do this though, so we can get them published?
You can.
Can I get,
publish them as proposed?
can I get a motion to be allowed to publish to the website the minutes as drafted, even though they are not approved yet?
Sure, I would like to propose that we approve the minutes to be published as
Okay.
written.
Discussion on that? All right, roll call.
Cosgrave,
Yes.
Foreman, McCreary,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Keller, Schaffner,
Yes.
Keller.
You
Yeah,
can't vote.
I can't
And
vote.
just for the new councilman, this doesn't happen very often. And
No, no.
Beginning of the year, there were several vacancies, so it's very
Unusual.
and very unlikely to repeat.
Yes. So we will at least get those published so they're out there so we can do it. We'll keep them on the agenda to approve at a future date.
And there's no rush. So, I mean, eventually you want to approve them. but-
Right. All right. So then next is the approval of the agenda. I don't have any amendments since Jeff clarified last year that we don't have to amend it to add sponsors. So is there a motion to approve the agenda? All right.
Cosgrave second.
All right, discussion? Roll call.
Cosgrave,
Yes.
Foreman, McCreary,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
All right, agenda. So first item is visitors. None in here with COVID, none online. I received no emails, so we will move on to village administration reports. My reports, again, Debbie and Darla, welcome. Trial by fire, a lot of information comes down. Just ask. If I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. The only dumb question is the one not asked. So ask away, especially on acronyms. Moving on, I'm tracking about 100 pieces of legislation for various issues, but the one most pertinent here and for Chuck is House Bill 43, which allows public bodies to meet via video conference. It hasn't moved since it was referred to the Government Oversight Committee last February. I don't know if or when it will move, but hopefully soon. We mentioned beforehand, there's several new staff members. So welcome, Terry. Good job on the minutes the first time. The other Terry,
Terry too.
is that what we're referring to as, Terry too?
Chief calls her that.
Okay.
Terry too.
All right. I mentioned at the last meeting, I'm working on the letter to the commissioners about the bed tax. I want to send it to Jeff before I send it down to the commissioners. Again, I don't think their resolution is fully legal because it has to do with the bed tax imposed on the county. It changes the definition, which would include Airbnbs. And the money goes to the Decorative Arts Center. I like the Decorative Arts Center, but I think the revised code says that it has to go to a visitors bureau. And more importantly, if they are going to collect the tax, the law also says that they have to provide a uniform percentage back to the village from which they take it from. And their resolution didn't tell us how they're going to give us our money back. So I'm working on a letter. I'm trying to not make it too legalese, even though I know they'll send it off to Josh, but hopefully I'll get that to Jeff later this week to get down, to get some clarification from them on that. There's a lot of stuff over the holidays with Greif. We went over that in service. I will have some additional stuff when we get down to Planning and Zoning Commission and to our tabled ordinances. So with that, if no one has any questions for me at the moment, I'll turn it over to Terry for her update.
Great, thanks. Service, I always talk a lot, so we'll make this short. again, I'm working on the 2 grants for the park. For the pool. I'm also working on a grant that the state is sending out for demolitions. So I've identified a building in town. The owner is on board with tearing it down. So one of the things we're doing is submitting that for demolition. As soon as that project's done, I'll present it to council the next time. So I am doing that. But today I set in yet another meeting with the Ohio Grants Commission about the ARP money grants. So if you think this is confusing about what you can spend the money on and what you can't, well, they revised it now from 426 pages to 46 pages, and I consider it still confusing. So net, you know, I'm not really sure. I have to do my homework and read through those 46 pages to see what the new parameters are. It seems like they keep expanding that out, and I'm not quite sure.
Do you want to, just for the newer council members' benefit, explain what that acronym is, the ARP?
ARP, American Recovery Program. I think I
Act.
nailed it.
Yeah,
Act.
it was the second federal legislation that went through with COVID that allowed us to. The first one was very restrictive.
Right.
This one allows us to use it on infrastructure, and our plan is to use a large portion
Hold
of
that
it.
thought. They have now revised the infrastructure. I have to go back in and look at it.
Okay, the plan
This-
was to use it on water
Yes.
lines.
Yes, we had pledged our allotment they were getting to a Washington Street new water line. But through House Bill 168, but I believe that's not going to happen, first of all. And again, yes, I need to read through this. I just attended that seminar today. So I apologize for not having more details, but I will. So yes, it is confusing. But we'll get it straightened out. And that's all I'm going to talk about tonight, unless you all have any questions for me. I plan on bringing my new employees and my staff, and I got to figure, I was going to bring them this time, but because, so you all can meet them, but because we had so much to do tonight, as you can see, I thought it would be too cumbersome, and so did the mayor. So we'll do another time so you can meet them. I may do them maybe 1 or 2 at a time and not bring the whole troop in. We have been going through COVID protocols, so that may be how we do it, 1 or 2 at a time. That's all I have, sir.
All right, any questions for Terry?
Yes, I have one. I know when I was home there a couple of weeks ago, I had a couple of people ask me, what's going on with Cozy Corner? I haven't heard anything for a while. Or anybody else have heard anything? When I say Cozy Corner, I meant that corner, like catty corner of City Hall.
Yep.
With rain this
Okay.
zone.
So I do have meetings with Mr. Landis on that building and the building next to it, the white one he also owns. He already has put on, as you know, the new roof and the new windows. I believe that yeah, has a lot of projects going on, but I'm working on it, Chuck. I just had a meeting with him last week to discuss it further and what we're going to do with the white building.
Well, if I can piggyback onto Chuck, because I've had some people mention that there's, of course, the window that's open, but the one comment that I have received is how can the village consider his development
Okay.
when he hasn't done anything with this building yet? And it's complicated because they're 2 different projects. And I think the development will be good for the village, but the perception from the resident that was asking me was, how can we do one when there were promises on that one? So, and I know I haven't seen Robert in a couple of weeks, but I've mentioned to him. So I know he's aware of it. But that is the sentiment that is out there.
Okay.
So hopefully when you talk to him and when I see him, we'll let him know. But, you know, I did get that question as well over the
And you're
holidays.
correct. He has a lot of projects going on. Robert is one of the foundations that's going to help with the funding for the pool also, besides the
yes.
sand. So he does have a lot of projects going on. In fact, we have to schedule a public hearing for
Yep. That's
the
coming up.
changing of the zoning district.
Mhm.
So, but again, it's like the way I always try to look at it and explain, it's like finances. You know, you have a pot for wastewater and a pot for water and a pot for general. That's the way with these projects. They're not intertwined or connected. So they're all,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, that's true. He's got that spec house too.
Working on the development.
Yeah.
Right.
So he is busy.
He is busy.
I tell you, I can't believe he bought that building.
Yeah.
I still don't know how he's gonna get it done, but I say you give him wide berth.
Yeah, he does have plans, even to the point where, you know, he's gonna put parking. In fact, I just had this discussion with him last week. So as soon as I can get everything narrowed down, you know, I will bring it back. But I think it's good questions.
Yeah.
You know, we need to, I would like to see us do some sort of streetscape in the downtown. I know we have 2 downtowns, so that makes it twice as interesting. But I think I would like to see something like that. And I had that discussion with Robert also. So.
And he's been receptive to the public
He's been very
feedback. So
receptive to feedback.
I
Yes.
know he's aware of it, but
Yep.
I got the question too.
Meeting,
Yeah,
but not-
He did.
yes, yes.
Not required, not necessary, and completely open forum. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
approach him and talk to him. So that's pretty, you know,
Yeah, he's been very open about it, but you know, it is a question. Chuck got it, I got it. So
I think
people were
that's-
asking about it.
That's a good
So
question. I'll continue pursuing.
All right.
Anything else, Mr. Chuck?
No, that's it.
Thank
All right.
you.
in that case, we will move on. Brian is in Kansas City, though I don't think he went to the football game last night.
No,
So
if he did, I'll be mad.
Yeah.
The
um,
only thing Brian would have is what I said in service, that he did go out to park and people's, to get the best deal for the truck.
All right.
So,
Jeff Slister.
2 new pieces of legislation on the agenda, and they've already been discussed in committee, so they're self-explanatory. 2 tabled ordinances that need to remain tabled because there hasn't been a public hearing on that yet, as that's required. And then I would ask for a brief executive session after regular business. All of council, the chief's welcome to attend if he wants to. Doesn't involve the police department at all, to discuss a potential litigation matter and land acquisition.
And we can include Chuck on
Yeah,
Zoom.
absolutely.
Okay.
and me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Terry,
All right. Questions for Jeff?
and that's all.
All right. We can move on. Council committee reports, finance.
Okay, Mayor, our first meeting will be February the 14th at 6 o'clock, unless something comes up before then.
And at that meeting, we'll have January financial, probably have 2021 year end January financials and February.
He has closed the books.
All right.
So
So
he's
that-
excited. That's why he needed those couple of days off.
All right. Service.
Service Committee met tonight. We had basically 4 things that we went over. First one was that the committee wants to create a 5-year capital improvement plan and try to keep that up to date over the next term. Brad Kennison and Tim Little were on talking about the Greif project with wastewater treatment plant and the discharge coming from the mill and how to resolve any issues going on with that. Also, the 2 pieces of legislation came out of the committee. Other than that, our next meeting is in February 28th, 6 o'clock.
All right. Safety.
Yes, Mayor. So we tried to meet this evening. We just didn't have a quorum. We're not able to meet this evening.
Well, you had a quorum, you couldn't approve the minutes.
Sorry. We had a quorum, but we did not have enough people to be able to approve the minutes that were in attendance because we have several new members
All right.
who have joined council recently. So in looking at past minutes, I know that Chief had been discussing some of the changes with staffing, which there have been many changes that have taken place. And that was a big part of our conversation back in November. We have also talked about the updating of the website, which was part of our mentioning in the minutes in regards to staffing and those items. And I don't think And looking at this, I don't think there's anything else
No, there
Nope.
wasn't anything.
that we
on the-
mentioned.
So the high school parking issue that's on service is also a kind of a safety issue. Because as cars park on those ballards that are there, there's not enough room for fire trucks and ambulances to get
I
through.
think it needs to be moved to the safety agenda. Because
Officer.
it is now, to me, the safety issue.
They meet back to back. We could put it on both because it has to do with streets and safety, I think. And that way we just get it done. But yeah, let's add it to the safety.
That's on there.
All right. And rules. Hasn't met
Okay,
yet.
Mayor, we will meet on February 14. I know that we should have agenda because I know Rick asked a couple of questions about some of the stuff we talked about tonight. So if Jeff can give us a lowdown on that by the next month, we'll have a meeting.
Yep,
Or if
and
anything else comes up.
there were carryover goals from some council rules amendments from last year we wanted to look at.
True.
Well,
So,
all right. Moving on, public safety reports, fire department, police department. Sorry, Chief.
Police department, it's all the same. Let's see. Just a few things. Lieutenant Rogers, I think all of you know, is now our new school resource officer. And there's a process we had to go through to get him moved from part-time to full-time. A big part of that was changing him from OPERS to police and fire pension. And they require a physical, they require a bunch of hoops to jump through. But we've got that all done, so he is full-time status now. We ordered anti-bullying book totes for the elementary school. Every year we do a contact day down there. Last year we did COVID information coloring books for all the kids. Got a lot of really good feedback on that. So we've got those ordered. They should be in soon. Let's see. We've had an issue in certain parts of the schools that our portable radios do not work. So, they put the new tower in up at Millersport, and it took care of this bowl that Baltimore sits in. So now out in the cruiser, whatever, it's very rare. I've got to flip on the repeater in the cruiser, almost never now. But we still have that problem in the school. So the school has contracted for a study to be done to put repeaters in the school buildings. And basically how that works, my radio, if I talk on it, the repeater picks it up, magnifies the signal, and then transmits it. So it's just like I'm still in the car using a car radio. And that's been a huge officer safety problem for us for a while. We're compiling the data for an end of year report. Should have it done by next meeting. Working with Terry in regard to the new administrative assistant, how to best utilize her for the time she's going to be working with the police department. Deputy Chief and I just had a meeting tonight about that, as a matter of fact. We're looking at a new paperless citation program. It looks like it will be cost-free, which is always nice. Ultimately, how it works is you may notice in the cruisers, we have onboard computers, and how that would, I go back and I run a driver's license number, social security number, whatever. It will bring up and give me all the information from that person. It then will populate the citation by push a button, populates the citation. The only thing you then do is from a drop down is enter what the violation is, enter what the court it's going to. It'll put in whatever the next court date is. Push print, gives them a printout copy for them. It automatically sends it to whatever court. So Missy, sitting in here on a daily basis, would get those citations as soon as we push the button. It would come here, or it would go to municipal court. None of the other court systems or government agencies are at this point on board with it. So we think that would be a real plus.
Is this the highway patrol one?
Same thing as, it's called the Tyler system.
Is it?
And it's kind of the latest, greatest. We're supposed to, DC is actually heading that. we're supposed to have a meeting here end of next week to view it, but
Have
big thing
them
for us, we don't have to buy any citation books, which are outrageous.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
have them check with Chief Hargett up at Buckeye Lake because they just went to it recently as well.
Tyler,
I can't remember if that's the one or if they went to the highway patrol one that's tied into the courts up there already. Relatively easy, just a few quirks that once you're aware of, you go, oh, well, that makes sense.
yeah.
But yeah, have them reach out to him. I'm
It
sure.
sounds like it's probably the same one because I know it's through Department of Public Safety, which would
And
be,
Probably be
Control.
the same.
so, well, good. That'll give me a good point of contact for that. Still advertising for new officers. We are getting zilch. It's just the time of year that it is. And the other thing is this time of year, once new budgets come in, the bigger agencies are all gobbling up all the people. So now once they get their belly full, then we'll get, whatever we get left. We do have one guy in the system and we're working on him. Takes about 4 weeks to 5 weeks from when we get an application back to get everything done and, certify that the guy is able to work for us. Terry and I had a conversation. If you look down, you see the flooring in here. For those of you that don't remember, this used to be some, it was pretty nasty in here. One of the things that I want to do, my wife and I bought an industrial carpet cleaning machine. And she comes in once a year and she cleans all the carpets in there. And it literally looks like coal tar. I mean, it is black what comes out of that carpet. So I'm convinced that one of the reasons that everybody down there runs around sniffling and whatever is because that stuff in that carpet. So we talked about doing the same thing that we did here through some of that money and having a 100% vinyl floor put down. So Wednesday I have the same person that did this is coming in, is going to look at that, give us a cost estimate on taking out the old carpet. Now, for those of you that have been down there, there's on the one side, which is raised up a little bit. That's where we're looking at to put that in there. That's the only hard carpeted area. So hopefully we can get a decent price and get that done. But I think it really is I think it's a health issue down there for anybody that's in the building. So other than that, that's all I currently have.
Questions for the chief? All right, move on to fire district. We don't have a report. So we'll move on to village committees and commissions. First is planning and zoning. We met the other week and basically it was more of an administrative meeting we did discuss a few things, but to look at our priorities for the year. Top of the priority is discussion of ponds, followed by we're going to revisit the driveways, hard surfaces requirements, sign rules, and then if we get all of those done, we'll look at some junk vehicles, or if we have a lull in between. That's kind of a low-hanging fruit that we'll look at. That said, we did set a public hearing for 2 proposed zoning code changes for February 16th at 7 p.m. upstairs in the Opera House. Those are with regards to requirements regarding pools and fences. The fences is to get rid of the 1-foot setback so you can go up to the property line. And the pools one was, what was the pools
The
one?
requirement of a fence around so that our international property maintenance code and our zoning codes marry up. Right now they
Yep.
don't.
We did have a public hearing on the development behind Dorchester and Tremont with where there's a change in zoning. Council now has to have a public hearing on that. We didn't want to set that last year, knowing that there would be some change. So we do need to schedule that public hearing. But when we get down to the tabled ordinances, we got to talk about public hearings for those 2 ordinances as well. I think they should be separate dates, but I think it'll be easier just to talk about the scheduling when we get down to the tabled ordinances. So don't let me forget that. And I think that was it on planning and zoning.
Yes, you touched on everything.
All right, questions?
The only other thing I would add, I just have to add, is that the planning and zoning booklet is like the council booklet that I gave you all. It's like a living document. So these issues that the mayor has brought up are issues that I ran into in the last 3 or 4 years doing zoning. So we always want to kind of keep our zoning codes up to today's standards.
Tree Commission.
We did receive that grant from ODNR. The ODNR substitute director was here at our meeting last week. The lady that we've had forever retired. And so ODNR is still in trying to figure out who they're going to assign to our district. We will be putting together a planting schedule. And once we get that schedule, then we'll be sending our usually Steve does that, sends out letters to all the residents to know what's coming. So, so moving right along, our next meeting is the second Thursday of the month at 5:30. We usually do Zoom, but like I said, last week we had a visitor, so we did a visitor. So if you want to join, just let me know.
All right. Questions? All right. Records Commission, Brian should be finishing up. I just got to coordinate with Jeff and Brian and Mr. Bibler about the date so that we can have a Records Commission meeting for some destruction of documents. Moving on to motions.
Someone's gonna make it. I can't.
First reading? Is that what-
No, I'm on the motions,
Executive session.
executive session.
Oh,
For litigation
I'd like to make
matters,
a motion, we move into executive session, leave that for council.
Second.
for litigation matters and land acquisition matters, just so the minutes reflect that. So, thanks.
And with all of council present, village administrator, chief, if he so chooses.
Correct.
All right. Discussion on executive session. All right, roll call.
Foreman,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Cosgrave.
Yes.
All right. Brief, Jeff, executive session after.
Fine.
Okay. Moving on, ordinances, resolutions, first reading, resolution 2022-01, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to submit a grant application and provide for all information and documentation required to become eligible for possible funding assistance from the Edward Sands Fund for Baltimore and the Edward N. Sands Foundation for the Village Swimming Pool Improvement Project and the declaration of an emergency. Sponsor is Foreman, but before I turn it over, I should say for our new members, when we do our readings, our rules allow us to read by title only so that we don't have to read the entire document. Some councils still read the entire document. We read by title.
Get a
But
copy of the
you-
ordinances in your packet.
Yes. All right. Sponsor is Mr. Foreman.
So as we discussed earlier in service, this is simply authorizing the village administrator to apply for a grant. There are time constraints on the grant application, so due to that, we're asking this pass by emergency tonight. And so I make a motion that we pass this by emergency.
You
So-
mean suspend a 3 reading?
So suspend the 3 reading rule?
Yes.
Yep, I make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Cosgrave second.
All right. Roll call.
Cosgrave,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
and Reedy.
Yes.
All right. 3 readings suspended.
Then
Now you need a
No.
motion. to
Did
pass.
Matt motion to adopt? Yep.
Motion to adopt.
Cosgrave makes a motion to adopt.
Foreman made the motion.
Okay, you can
Okay,
second.
You
I
can second.
Okay, I'll second.
All right. Discussion on adoption of 2022-01.
And frankly, for the new council members, this is kind of a no-brainer ordinance. I mean, why not allow the village administrator to apply for grant monies, especially if there are no matching funds required? And who knows? One of these foundations may step forward and say, here you go, we'll write you a check. The Fairfield Foundation does have, well, through the Sands Fund, it does have a requirement that, and the language is in the ordinance, that obligates the village to complete the project. So if they award the funds, the village is saying, yes, we'll use those funds for this project, and we do agree to complete the project, which, you know, isn't unreasonable
Yeah.
by any means. So that's all I have on that.
Roll call.
Cosgrave,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Schaffner.
All right. 2022-01 will be adopted. Moving on, 2022-02. An ordinance authorizing the village administrator and fiscal officer to contract with Coughlin Ford of Pataskala and Zoresco Equipment Company for the purchase of a 2022 Ford F-550 service truck with accessory package for the service department and declaration of an emergency. Sponsor is Foreman.
Yeah, I would ordinarily be one of the people saying that we shouldn't be doing things like this by emergency, but under the current circumstances with supply chain issues and availability of equipment and the age of the existing equipment, I would suggest that we suspend the 3 reading rule and go ahead and pass this by emergency.
Sounds like a motion to suspend 3 reading.
McCreary seconds.
Roll call.
Foreman,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Cosgrave,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yes.
All right. 3 readings suspended. Ready for a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second. McCreary.
Discussion on 2022-02.
I will add this tidbit in. Mr. Foreman was correct. The new CDL, the new truck will not need a CDL to operate it. So it is based on weight. So
Cool.
just keep in mind.
And just as I had a meeting with Tim last week on an unrelated matter, and he mentioned that he was on the road 9 hours plowing because he couldn't plow and spread salt at the same time. So he had to plow and then come back and then go back over the same roads and spread salt. So anyway, so it's a much needed item.
And that was on a holiday.
And that was a holiday.
So that, well, no, what my point is, it's extra overtime.
Lots of money.
Yes. Good for Tim.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
And
I already got to do.
in addition to that, we started our new person a day early so he could train.
Yep.
Right, and then, yeah, the new people just weren't ready to do it yet.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Anything else? If not, roll call.
Cosgrave,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Schaffner.
All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
2202 will be adopted.
I will keep these at a minimum, the emergency legislation it is.
All right. Second readings, we've got none. Third readings, we've got none. We do have 2 tabled ordinances that we need to set up public hearing for. I think we're about ready to set them again, new council members. I want to set them out. We need to set them out at least 30 days. I think we would like to set them out at least 45. Rick, I know you want to be able to comment on one of these. I talked to Chris, I can't even pronounce his last name, Chris at the Ethics Commission today about the conflict. He won't, I can't actually ask for it because I'm a third party. Jeff can ask for it, you can ask for it. He sent some information, some opinions, so that I forward those on to Jeff. I don't know if you just want Jeff to look at it, give us opinion. If you want him, the Ethics Commission, to actually give us opinion. If we want him to do it, he said it's about 45 days. 45 days is their time limit. They usually get it done a lot quicker than that, but they can't officially start it until they get it in writing through the mail with an original signature. So if you want us to go that route to make sure, I would say we want to set these for public hearing, probably at least 50 to 60 days out. If you're okay with Jeff just looking at the stuff and giving us an opinion one way or the other, we could probably set them out closer to the 30-day mark that we have to set them out. The difference being Jeff gives us an opinion. It's his opinion. The opinion from the Ethics Commission comes basically like with immunity. So if they say one thing or the other and you do it and someone says, oh no, this is wrong, it comes with that immunity waiver. Jeff's opinion doesn't carry immunity. But either way, but just again, I want to make sure that we're all cool with that, especially if you can comment so that you can provide your comments.
Yeah, I would think that it would not be unethical for me to comment, but possibly for me to. but-
It's definitely a conflict to vote. The issue is that one opinion about commenting and the confusion formally and informally and influence because there is that conflict on the vote. It's totally your call, whichever way you want to go. I don't want you to get in trouble
Well,
by you know.
I guess, are you able to give me the information to contact that ethics commissioner? Are we able to delay these until I get response?
They're going to want me to make the formal request, and I'm fine doing that. I have no.
I say, let's go that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's fine.
So in that case, we will want to set these. They want 45 days. He says it's usually a little quicker than that, 30 or less. But let's give them the full 45 days plus Jeff a week or two to put the letter and get it up there in the mail. So for the tabled ordinances, when we look at our calendars to set that, I don't think we should set it any earlier than 60 days from today.
Are we saying that I'm in conflict on both or just one?
Just the one, I think. Just the short-term rental one. I think the other one, you're fine on.
I think the other one, several of us would probably be in conflict if I am.
Yeah, well, I mean, to a degree, everybody would be, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, the lot coverage ones, I think fine. I think the problem is the short-term rental one.
Okay.
That said, we could set them at two different times as well. We could set the one 30 days out, the short-term rental one 60 days out.
I always thought this should be held different times anyway, because I do believe it's pretty good turnout. So
Right.
you did last.
Yeah,
And you may get different people attending.
And they didn't understand that there were two topics. And we
Okay.
had to talk
All
about
right.
it two different times. and
So-
It was very confusing.
Yeah, even a
So-
better reason to schedule them separately.
so in that case, we got 3 public hearings to schedule. One for a change in zoning for the Landis Development Plan down Tremont.
But that's in planning and zoning.
No, that's
No,
been
no,
through
that's-
planning and zoning.
We've been through planning
That's
and
for
zoning.
council now.
That's council, and we already set that one.
We did? No.
The change of the district.
Yeah. When did we set that?
Oh, no, you're right. That's swimming pools.
Yep, that's swimming
Sorry.
pools.
Time to go
So we've
home.
got that one for council to set,
We got 3
as well
councils.
as the maximum lot coverage,
Mhm.
which is ordinance 2021-24, which can be 30 days out. And then 21-25, at least 60 days out on that one. And so, like I said, we didn't want to schedule them last year because the hope is that council is available to attend and listen at these.
I would request, because there is so much going on with the division, the subdivision, that we schedule that one first.
Okay.
If we could.
And just a quick comment, but in mentioning the county in regards to the taxation, in my mind, there seems like it could impact us and having short-term rentals registering, because then that would fall back on the county. So do we have to wait till we get clarification on that?
I don't know. But it'll be more than 60 days out.
Yeah, I
so-
was just gonna
mention
say.
Registration, just give us the money.
Yeah. But how do they know to get the money if you're not registering?
Exactly. They
Well,
just
I
are,
mean,
I guess,
that's-
counting on our. Good.
Kind of something inferred in there.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping to have the letter to Jeff this week to send out. That goes into effect April 1st. If we're looking at least 60 days out, we're
Okay.
talking March. So it'll be about the same time.
Okay, I
So
was just curious, 'cause I'm
hopefully
like,
we'll
that
have some
Seems like that would be kind of.
agreement then, yeah. All right, so public hearing. And so first on the PUD change, and all of these have to be set at least 30 days out, correct, Jeff?
Correct.
Okay. So we are looking at least February 24th
For which one?
for the PUD change. So this is the development.
PUD means plan
Un-
unit
oh, yeah.
development.
Yep.
It's a zoning district.
It's a zoning. So right now the property is zoned R2. And the eventual proposal that will come in is a plan development with condominiums and the associated development areas, parking, greenscapes. In order to do that, they have to change from R2 to a planned unit development, and then they submit the plan. So it's a multi-part process. So this one, the earliest we look at is roughly February, 7, 14, 21, 28. So February 23rd is the earliest we could, no, the 24th, because we would have to
I
publish
was
it
gonna say, I
tomorrow.
wrote the 24th.
We tend to like to have them upstairs so that there's plenty of room for people. I'm willing to go on the presumption that February 24th will probably be an open and available date, and the heat will be done if the 16th is good. That is a Thursday night.
So,
But the reason we're bringing this up is because it's y'all's kind of public hearing and schedule, and make sure the dates are good with everyone.
so give me some breathe time. If Brandy can't find out if we could have it or not. No, because I have to create all these letters and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. So,
Well, the letters are 10 days out, but the posting is 30 days.
Correct.
And of the three, this is the only one that's actually like stalling out a development project.
Correct.
right, that's
The
what I
other
would like
two
this
are
one to
like-
go first.
Right.
Not time sensitive. I would say with a developer trying to get things going for the spring,
Yes.
we
we
should
need
set
to.
it as early as possible.
So
The
you're talking
24th.
February 24th, you have to have those out by the end of this week.
Well, no, the letters would have to go out by
The
Valentine's
letters,
Day,
we just have to post it to the website.
10 days prior to the hearing.
Okay.
but we have to publish the hearing 30 days out.
Do I have to be there? At the meeting? I'm asking because I have conferences. That's the other thing I was just trying.
Technically, I don't think so, because it's a public hearing just to gather the input.
Yeah.
Typically, what I've done in the past is if a majority of council shows up, I call the council meeting to order. It's preferable, but I don't want to hold one person if everyone else can
That's
make it.
why I'm bringing. this
And
up
well, and
now.
you were on
That's why I
planning
just-
and zoning anyway, so you've already been part of, yeah,
It's just more like information for the
Yeah,
Council
people.
doesn't have to speak. Council doesn't
Right.
have to, it's not a question and answer session
Mhm.
between anybody speaking in favor of it or against it with council. It's just.
our opportunity to hear public. input.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So, but the more council people that are there, the better, as
Mhm.
far as that goes, because then you're hearing directly from anybody who may be in favor of it or opposed to it. So-
and you were at planning and zoning on it though, so you're aware
So
of
you've
some of the
already-
public
You
input.
just wouldn't hear the public's voice.
I'll
But we
check
do
and
take,
confirm,
we
but
do take minutes, well, we take notes at them
Well, it will
the
be on
public-
YouTube, so you want to-
to the best that we
I mean,
can
I
upstairs.
always read that
It's,
and look at that, but I just wanted to-
Okay. So that's a go.
so is the
February
24th good with everyone, 7 PM upstairs?
I'm just-
Okay,
Right.
all right. So that one, the 24th upstairs, 7 PM. So the next one that we got to schedule would be 2021-24, which is the lot coverage one. Again, we got to go at least 30 days out.
I like Rick's idea of keeping these separate too.
Yep.
Pick the off Mondays in March.
On Mondays.
We don't have
The first
council.
and third instead of the second and fourth on council.
We could.
Yeah. Why couldn't we?
First one's March the 7th.
So March the 7th.
That way we just have a Monday meeting, Monday meeting, Monday meeting. Monday meeting.
So we go, does March 7th work for everyone for the lot coverage one?
Well, actually, we don't have anything for the 21st because the other one's further out.
Right.
So just-
So we'll go the 7th.
I might have a conflict with that if you don't care that I'm not there, though. I really am nobody.
Well, you
Right.
are somebody,
Well, you
but
know
it's
what I mean.
council. Yeah.
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 okay, All right.
All right. So we'll go that one. March 7th. And then if for whatever reason the Opera House upstairs isn't open on the 24th, we can shuffle that a little bit. So for the other one, though, we want to go out at least 30, 60. We probably, if we want to go and keep it on Mondays, we probably want to go to the first Monday in April, which would be April 4th. That'd be 67 days out, give or take a few.
I'm sorry, what?
County's thing takes effect on the first, too. doesn't it?
How
Right,
about the 18th,
April the 18th,
April 18th?
tax day.
So we've said March 7th for the lot coverage
Uh-huh.
and April 18th for the Airbnb.
Short-term
That's
rental.
STR.
Wait,
Easter Monday, does that matter?
What's Easter Monday?
oh, Easter is on the 17th, so
Oh,
it's the day
You're
after.
right, you're right. 4th,
Well,
I mean, I'm good.
we're not closed that day.
no, we're not, really.
Doesn't that matter?
Yeah, it's not a, does anybody travel to family over that weekend and might not be back by then?
Bring them on down
All right.
to the,
So let's go 4/18 at 7 PM upstairs.
perfect.
7.
Hey, Mayor,
Yeah,
are you going to Zoom all these for the public? or
so
not?
it kind of worked the last time. I've got another month, if we can get in there and talk with Steve, I might try it again. The issue the last time was a little bit of the audio. And I only had one person online want to comment, and I just read that. So
Let's see what we can do.
I will. So short answer is yes. I will do that and open it, even if I have to sit there and read the comment they type in to give out so that we can accept that comment that way. The caveat is they might not be able to hear the other person's comments, but again, as long as council gets the comments, we should be okay.
What do we need up there? What is lacking that we can't? Is it the building structure itself or the connection structure, or what do we need up there to get this viable?
We'll talk offline about that.
Okay, on it. Thank you.
All right. All right, so we got our public hearing scheduled. So those ordinances should stay tabled until after those dates. So, absolutely.
These obviously came into play before the budget. Can I get either now or later, whatever's convenient, some kind of explanation as to how they arose? I'm just not clear on what precipitated the need for it.
Different people would have different positions on that very question. on
Yes.
Both ordinances. So I don't know that hearing one person's perspective on why they came into being and what their purpose is and all of the background on both of these ordinances, I don't know that one person's explanation is fair.
I would agree with that because there are differing opinions on them. What I think would be the fairest way is for maybe Terry can go through and let you know what meetings these were discussed at, because there's planning and zoning meetings as well as council meetings. So you can review the minutes, but all of these meetings would also be recorded on the YouTube site. So you could go back and listen to the discussions yourself, and then form your opinion that way. If after hearing anything you have questions, then I think it would be fair to come back. But I agree with Rick. There are differing opinions on these. And so it would be unfair to only hear one side as to why they came out. Fair?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
fair. I wouldn't even want to be the one, and I
No.
wouldn't want, it would be totally unfair for even one, possibly two people to go through the whole process.
Yeah, I'd like Debbie, I would like to listen to.
Do you want to
Yeah.
listen to them, or do you want me to send you the minutes?
Why don't we-
Send in the minutes and then we can, if we have more questions, we can go on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yes.
Yeah, because the meeting minutes will tell them.
You can highlight question
Right.
mark.
The
And-
minutes are very abbreviated.
And the minutes will tell them,
You'll get the drift, plus I'll send you the documents that accompany that ordinance, because you wouldn't have those.
and then the meeting minutes will tell them what YouTube videos to watch for the full discussion.
So that said, does that make the timeline too short for our review?
Okay. Good question.
Very good question.
All right. Any other questions? All right.
Welcome aboard.
Yep. Old business.
I would like to just go on record as saying that ethics has come up here a lot tonight. And I think we need to review the ethics of appointing people to elected positions and how, what rules are regarding that. I'd like to know more about it. Appointing to elected position to second term to me because it's not right, but you're telling me it's legal, so I think it works. Understand that.
I will punt that to Jeff to either throw something together for the next meeting, or I don't know if the AG's office might have a PowerPoint or something on it, but
I'll check. So,
we'll pass that off to Jeff to,
I think ethics is an excellent idea to have.
well, and so for the two of you, one of the things that we talked about last year getting in the rules is there is a new council orientation. The Ohio Municipal League puts it on. It talks about some of the legislation stuff. It has an ethics portion. But right now it's your choice whether you want to attend it or not. I can't force you. Terry can't force you. Jeff can't force you. You guys control your own, as council, your own rules. And so I brought it up last year that maybe it's the rule that we get added that every so many years, that get attended, both by new council members and by those that are on council for multiple terms, so that there is a refresher there. That said, if either of you want to attend it, let Terry know. I think there's a date in March.
When we had this conversation 2 years ago, I expressed an interest in attending.
And they didn't have one.
Never got it because COVID shut them all down.
Should COVID.
So clearly, from the evidence of this meeting tonight, I'm the one who skirts those issues the most. So maybe I would
Yeah.
really like to.
I
Okay.
will get the information and distribute it. I personally think it's very good
Mhm.
because there are things that you would say, really, that's not ethical. I didn't know that. I think this just helps everybody
Helps.
understand where we should be at.
And so anybody that wants to attend it, let
Yes.
Terry know. The village
Yes.
pays for it,
Yes, we'll pay
And-
for the registration.
and we'll get that out there.
I definitely would.
Do they do them by Zoom?
You know, I'm not sure whether that one
I-
might still be by Zoom. I'm not sure.
They're
will
still, I don't think they've published the full date on it because I think they're still discussing it because I'm on the Attorneys Association Planning Committee.
Okay.
And we're still talking about in-person or Zoom type stuff there.
Both are available. I'd rather do it.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to do so. Yeah, okay, I will get you information.
And I'd like to go depending upon the time.
Once you get it, Terry, why don't you just email it out to everybody?
To everybody. I think that's a great idea.
Because I think even Chuck said he definitely wants to go.
I haven't gone since the first 4 years I was on council. So it's been a while.
He did
Yeah.
mention it. That's why
Yeah.
I
Oh,
said
that's
it.
good.
All right.
Which was how many years ago?
Just a few.
President Keller.
Which was how many years ago?
I don't know, too many.
All right. Any other old business? Any new business? No visitors have hopped on, no one here. We're to the last call portion. Last call is where if anybody on council has any, hey, my grandkid played in the state championship football game, little shout out thing we can do. Anybody have any last call? If not, I'm going to leave the Zoom up and running because Chuck is on it, but I'm going to shut down the live stream and for executive session. And so we come back in to adjourn. If there is any decision, hey, Jeff, let me ask,
Sure.
With us streaming and we go into executive session, if after executive session, council action has to be taken, meaning we'd go back into regular business and have some sort of motion. Do I restart the Zoom at that point or the stream at that point for public? Okay. So
If we
at,
make a decision in executive, we can come back in, make a motion.
right.
If it's necessary.
If it's necessary, if we only resume regular business to adjourn, I'm not going to restart the stream.
Perfect.
So let me go around and start that.
Let me see where we're at.
Can I, with the exhibits that we have with the one presentation, can I use the cursor, to point out?
This cursor over here?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you,
Can you pass that down to me or not?
no, you have to come here.